San Juan Scenic Jeep Tours is in Southwest Colorado, in Ouray, Colorado, and this was a tour Jeep for them. It was their first forward control tour Jeep. Before that, they had been in the business since, I believe, since 1946, and it was Davis Jeep Tours or Jeep Rentals, something like that, and then it converted over to San Juan Scenic Jeep Tours, and they had used everything. CJs, wagons were kind of their mainstay, and then in the late 50s the forward controls came, and this one started, this was their very first forward control. 1964 they started running it, according to all the documentation I could find. It could haul a lot more than the wagon. This can haul 13 people in it, including the driver. And the wagons were only two rows of seats plus 2 in the front. This is a 1957 FC-170. It was the very first year that Willys made the FC-170. It's got the early cooling tunnel. They basically stayed the same. They had some improved cooling because the early models had some overheating problems and some frame issues and stuff like that. But it basically stayed the same through its whole production. Right here, this part right here, this was the original roll bar that was in it, and it kind of came up, and they had like a 64 style, and that's how they had it, and they had the smaller tubing and stuff. And then after a period of years, they kind of did a rehab on it. Like I thinking like around 1969 or 1970, they kind of did a rehab on it, and that's when these bigger bars got put in. And then they took the leftover roll bars and made hand bars for you to hold on to, and it's basically all the same. You can see the piping used to come, this tube used to come up, and the piping used to go over that way, and then in the late 60s or early 70s they converted over to the bigger tubing, and then it's pretty much stayed like that since then. It was kind of stick built, you know. I thought when I very first got it, I thought it was a custom unit like that, but they actually took like 2 pieces of 4-inch I-beam and laid them on the frame rails, and then, you know, just like building a trailer. But the bad part was they welded it all to the original frame, and then so it was kind of hard to take it apart when I did the restoration. It didn't just unbolt. They kind of had a transformation. Every tour Jeep kind of was different than the first one. You know, this is the very first one, and they had the metal sides like this, and then the other ones had more framework, and then they attached like a fiber panel board to it, you know. So they just kind of morphed as they built them in the later years. It's a stock FC-170 suspension, and it's I can put 12 people in here, and it doesn't sag or nothing, and it's pretty heavy duty. It was based on, they called these the 1 tons. I don't know if they're exactly rated 1 ton, but they called these the 1 tons, and they called the FC-150s the 3/4 tons. I remember one of my neighbors, she said, I forget exactly what it was, but she says, this is really a festive Jeep. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It really is festive. And we go out to, you know, car cruises and runs. I put the whole family in it and all my friends and stuff, and we have a great time with it.